Welcome to the Explainer. So, today we're actually going to skip our usual addenda. I really want us to drop straight into this highly evocative, kind of meditative space right off the bat. We're doing a thematic deconstruction of a truly fascinating piece of source material. It's short, it's raw, and get this, it's an auto-generated transcription from a visual journey into Middle Earth. But what makes it so completely captivating is how these digital imperfections actually created their own accidental poetry. It's literally a masterclass in world building in just a handful of words, and we're going to break the whole shebang down together.
Okay, let's just listen to the raw, completely unedited text exactly as it was captured. Ready? You are let path over grand wind, and with bluck who's of hold the hill as fast as thunder, or a mescat stand the set over the sweet gold sack and hand. And he, this is Rogers, and was not by gold nor treasure, but by horse and hand and heart. This is Roan strong, and free winds and roads where glory lives.
Section 1. Winds of the Mark. The environmental ethos. It's a bit wild, right? But underneath all that chaotic digital translation lies a seriously breathtaking foundation. See, any rich culture and storytelling is, first and foremost, defined by the environment it inhabits. You just can't separate the people from the land they walk, or, well, in this case, ride upon. When we look at the mention of the grand wind, you have to actually feel the rushing energy here. The environment isn't just some static, painted backdrop. It is an active, living participant in this world. The wind sweeps across the plains, it pushes the narrative forward, and it completely dictates how these people live, build, and survive. It's constant, it's grand, and it moves fast. But then we hit the hills. Let's just slow down for a second. The text explicitly tells us to hold the hill. This provides this necessary solid grounding that completely contrasts with that rushing wind we just talked about. You have the ethereal, fast-moving air on one hand, and then you have the ancient, unmovable earth on the other. It really shows us the dual nature of this landscape. The people here, they have to be as swift as the wind, but as steadfast and resilient as the hills they defend.
And it's amazing how brilliantly this illustrates the setting using only 3 distinct environmental cues pulled straight from our transcript. Grand wind, the hill, winds, and roads. That is literally all you need to establish a strong sense of place. The environment is vast, it's totally exposed to the elements, and it's defined by travel and elevation. It's just a brilliant example of how minimalist descriptions can create the absolute most vivid pictures in our minds.
Section 2. Faster than thunder, the sensory journey. So now that we understand the physical space, if you're actually standing on those hills, what do you hear? Hooves. We get this incredibly quirky, garbled phrase, who's of hold. Now, as an accidental digital translation of thundering horses, probably supposed to be something like hooves of old, it creates this amazing galloping rhythm right in the middle of the sentence. You can almost hear the frantic, rhythmic pounding of a massive cavalry charge. This culture is intrinsically tied to their mounts, and their arrival, it isn't announced by trumpets, but by the sheer physical beating of hooves against the earth. And what exactly does that sound like? Thunder. The text equates these hooves with being as fast as thunder. It connects the riders directly to the raw forces of nature. Their sheer power, their volume, their impact on the battlefield or the open plains, it isn't just a military force, it's practically a natural phenomenon. When these inhabitants move, the very ground shakes, like a massive storm breaking over the hills. Section 3. The true wealth. Redefining value. Okay, let's dive into this. Because every culture is ultimately defined by what it holds most dear, right? By how it measures its own worth. And this source text gives us a stark contrast to what we'd normally expect from powerful kingdoms. This is Roheros and was not by gold nor treasure. I mean, I have to laugh a little bit at the auto-caption translating the great realm of Rohan to Rogers. It's just a wonderful, funny little digital quirk of our modern age trying to process high fantasy. But if we look past Rogers, we see a profoundly serious rejection of material wealth. They are not defined by gold nor treasure. The shiny, static objects that cause so much greed and corruption in other realms, they hold absolutely no sway here. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the clear juxtaposition between 2 very different ideas. On one hand, we have gold and treasure, what the text calls the sweet gold set, and on the other, we have horse, hand, and heart. This is such a beautiful contrast between traditional, cold material wealth and spirited, living, breathing value. They don't hoard coins in some dark vault. They value things that actually have a pulse, things that require real effort, and things that require raw courage. Notice that there are exactly 3 pillars to their true wealth. Just 3: horse, hand, and heart. This is an incredible trinity of values. The horse represents their mount, their mobility, and their deep bond with nature. The hand represents human labor, craftsmanship, loyalty, and literally holding a weapon or a tool. And the heart? That represents their unwavering courage, their spirit, and their absolute dedication to one another. You just cannot buy these things. They have to be lived. Section 4, where glory lives, the ethos of a people. So if they completely reject gold and they value horse, hand, and heart, what are they actually striving for? Where does this all lead? Well, the text concludes with this incredibly powerful line. This is Rohan's strong and free, winds and roads where glory lives. I just love how the digital translation eventually sort of corrects itself from Rogers to Rohan, getting much closer to Rohan. But look at the phrasing there. They explicitly link their very identity to being untamed. They don't live in walled fortresses of stone where glory is locked away safely. No, their glory lives out on the open, rushing roads. So the really crucial point here is that we can define this entire culture using strictly the adjectives provided right in the text. They are strong and they are free. Those 2 words, strong and free, are inextricably linked for this culture. You really cannot have one without the other. Their strength is what guarantees their freedom, and their freedom is the literal source of their strength, and they exist where glory lives. All right, let's pull all of this together. Look at the core ethos we've uncovered: a firm rejection of material treasure, a deep, highly physical connection to the rushing wind and the natural world, and a society irrevocably bound to horse, hand, and heart. We've built this incredible narrative, showing how a mere 50 garbled, auto-translated words actually contain a complete, absolute masterclass framework for world building. Everything you need to know about the soul of this place is laid out right there. But what does this all mean for you? As someone who loves to learn and deconstruct these kinds of ideas, we have to bring this fantasy theme back into our own reality. I want you to think about your own daily journey. Think about your road. Sure, we aren't riding horses across the plains of Middle-earth, but we are all navigating our own environments, deciding what we truly value, and choosing what we chase every single day. Which brings me to a final question for you to ponder today. Are your roads leading to gold or to where glory lives? Think about that sweet gold sec versus your own horse, hand, and heart. What is the true wealth you are actively cultivating in your own life? I really hope this explainer gave you a totally new lens to look through, and I'll leave you to think about how you measure your own true wealth. Thanks for exploring this with me.